Guys, welcome back to Swish Life Garage. You guys see it here, man. Today I am working on the Prelude once again. What I'm going to be doing is working on the interior. In the interior on these Preludes, if you don't already know, the dash section, the cluster going all the way to the passenger side is just one of the main pieces for me that is just makes the Prelude, especially this generation, just stand out so much. But on the cluster, of course, you have your tachometer and speedometer, but on this side, this is supposed to be digital. As you can see, like this little screen section, it shows your coolant and how much gas you have in the car. Sort of makes like a rainbow. And as well, down here you have these little lights that turn on for the ABS, handbrake, seatbelt, and stuff like that. The digital side, especially these cars are older already, it starts to go out on a lot of these cars. If it hasn't already, it will go out in the future. So I'm going to be changing this on out because mine does not work. And again, it's one of the main pieces in the Prelude, and so for me, I gotta have that, especially to see how much fuel you have. That's what I'm going to be doing here, taking this apart, getting this gauge on out, doing a little bit of modifications I'll be showing you guys. But as well, I'm going to be changing out these tweeter covers. This Prelude is a 92. I'm going to be installing the updated tweeter covers from the 94 to 96 model. The first thing got to do is remove the tweeter cover. I already felt this one. This one's already loose. That means the little post that it has is broken. So just slide it and then kind of just bring it down and out. Usually there's like a little post right here that would allow the tweeter to snap in. And so a lot of times people just break that. So just remove the tweeter, its connections. That's the little tweeter it has in the back. This one might be held on. Try to just bring it forward. And so here's this tweeter. Here's the post I was talking about. This one is broken. It's kind of broken up top. I gotta get a screwdriver. There's going to be a bunch of screws up top holding this little top panel here. There's going to be this little plastic piece that has one screw, so take that off as well. Next thing is this rubber trim. Just going to remove it. It just kind of comes out. Sometimes they're stuck on there because from factory they have like a 3M tape on them that kind of just holds it on in there. So got those two screws out. That's just going to hold on the lens. And remove the plug for the clock or the clock adjustment. We're here at the actual cluster. We got to go ahead and get it out. There's going to be some screws that go around it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Screws are out. Get this. And then unplug at the top. Here is the cluster. Now for some reason they always get like sticky. I mean, it's just, you know, it's an old car and it's just been sitting in the heat for over time, and this car does not have any tint on it. I'm pretty sure it probably never had any tint on it. You know, things start to deteriorate, and then you can see some of the plastic there on those indicator lights starting to come off. Like a little clear coat that they have is coming off. Little cracks on the cluster, stuff like that. Can't really complain. Now, it did have a little clip there break. Things do break, so don't be mad at yourself. I'm going to show you guys the part I'm going to be replacing it with. I'm not going to be fixing this one itself. That'll probably be a different video later on when I attempt to try to fix my own cluster. I did find someone off eBay that actually refurbishes the digital clusters for many different cars. I believe the name on there is oem-partsource. I'll go ahead and put it on here on the screen and then in the description if you guys want to go ahead and check them out. Go ahead and check them on out, but I did purchase the digital section here from him. Here it is. This is what needs to be fixed. This is the board that pretty much controls everything, and some of the capacitors and stuff just started to overheat and started to leak out. That's why the clusters start to go out. Sometimes also the boards kind of get burnt up. In that case, you might not be able to repair it, but this one has been refurbished. I did pay a good amount. I mean, it's not super expensive when you really think about it. Hopefully when you guys are watching this video, he might still be refurbishing the clusters, and he might have one for you guys. I'm gonna plug this on in and we should see it light on up. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the key and we should see it light on up. There it goes, man. Working cluster. Able to tell how much gas I have and the coolant temperature. So everything is working, so we should be able to just swap it on out. And I need to go ahead and take this one on out, but as well I'm going to be doing some additional things onto here. On the back here, going to have a bunch of screws to be able to take off. Now you're just able to kind of just lift everything on out. This board right here is connected, but this one right here is the one that we need to go ahead and change out. Here's the resistors. Sometimes these go out, and this one looks pretty burnt up. And then on the underside of the board here, if you kind of look underneath, there might be some like corrosion down there from the capacitors leaking out. Like I said, in the future, probably make a video trying to repair it and hopefully able to do so and just have an extra one. I'm going to go ahead and take out these lower screws in order to take this out from the indicators. Alright, and that just kind of comes out, but you gotta slide it on up. And then right here, able to take this on out and clean it on up. It's for the indicators, the logos here. I have the plastic here for the cluster. I was kind of just messing around with it, trying to see how to take off that stickiness that's on here. And I did use some alcohol right here. If you guys can tell, it has like a matte look to it. Now I'm pretty sure what it was is whenever the car was made, that stickiness that we're seeing was more of like a gloss or satin finish. So underneath the lens, it just had a real nice sheen to it. I need to go ahead and take off this stickiness. It just gets on your fingers and stuff. I used the alcohol and a towel here, and all that stuff just comes on off. So it's probably going to take a little bit, probably going to take a couple of towels. I'm going to go ahead and try to get this off here. Probably took about 15 towels or so, 15 to 20 towels about this size, and just getting all the little crevices all around here, all the little corners, the edges, even on the back side there's some residue back there, just trying to get rid of it because when I was holding it, just my hands itself was getting sticky from just holding that. And on the broken pieces, I grabbed some 180 grit, just a tiny bit, and just kind of roughened up the plastic on the places where the edges and stuff are broken, because I am going to attempt to fix them myself here in this area, this little area, and here as well. It looks like someone already has put some metal washers in the back to try to add some strength on there. So I mean, it did the job, man. It's holding on there. I'm not sure how they stuck it on there. And I'm going to attempt to use this plastic weld from JB Weld. I have used the steel stick before, and it's a putty. It's something that you're able to mold, unlike some of the liquids and gels and stuff that you might buy. I'm going to just try to rebuild the corner there. Probably have to drill the hole back in, maybe sand it a little bit and stuff. And as well right here, this is where the screw for that plastic lens in the front would be. Add some strength onto it to keep anything else from further cracking. One thing that did happen as well is the lens, from me rubbing, I went around here and the lens just kind of just fell out. But it just has some little like plastic rivets, I guess, if you want to say, some melted plastic rivets, but I am going to be reattaching that. Let me go ahead and get at this and take a little time in rebuilding this. This is going to need a couple hours to dry. I'm going to let it dry about a day and then I'll get back to it. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and work on these here, the indicators. Like I said, there is like this clear coating that's coming off. So I'm going to try to get that off, but as well it's a little bit sticky on there. So I'm going to use some alcohol and try to see if it comes off with that. As you guys can see, I got rid of the clear coating. When I was using the alcohol, a lot of the clear coating was just kind of just coming off while rubbing it. I did take off a lot of the clear coating, but if you take off all of it, it's going to take off that logo or that indicator logo on there. How you could tell is this one right here is coming off. I did leave a little bit on there, so whenever I put a clear on there, it will hold everything intact and it shouldn't bubble up. But I'm going to go ahead and fix this one. I'm going to finish like just scratching it on off. And as I'm showing you guys, I did go ahead and use my computer and vinyl cutter to go ahead and cut another indicator there for the brake lamp. So I'm going to go ahead and finish cutting it off and then put on this other decal. Alright, so just like a Texas scratch off, it came off real easy. So I'm going to go ahead and put on this decal here. There it is. For the most part, everything lined up and it's pretty spot on, about the same spacing as the other one. On this, I'm going to go ahead and put a protective clear on here. I have a 3M clear. It's like a clear bra. It's just sticky. It's not the wet application. So I'm going to go ahead and just put this on. It's just like putting on the decal. So this is actually going to be my second time putting a clear on this piece here. It's just because I had like a little piece of dirt in one on this one here and just created like a bubble. I just really didn't like it. So I took that clear off that you saw me put on. Thankfully the decal stayed on here, but unfortunately some of the indicator logo had came off for the seatbelt and the gas. So I did cut out a decal for that and place them on there. For the most part they're pretty straight and they look pretty good. Just got this off of Google Images and then just cut it right on out. I have some more clear here and I'm going to get at it. So I redid the clear covering on here, and no air bubbles on the emblems themselves. Now that that is finished, I'm able to work on this plastic piece. This JB weld, the plastic weld has already fully hardened. It's been about 2 days. Right here I have a 120 grit on the Dremel. I'm gonna go ahead and try to just shape it up a little bit and just make it look a bit better. I sanded down the corners, and on this side over here, whenever I drilled out the hole again for the screw there, it kind of cracked. You guys can't see it on the back side. There's a little crack there, so I mixed up some plastic weld and I just put it on the front there. So I'm gonna let it harden, try to try to give it some strength there in the corner. These seem like they're going to be all right. This one looks pretty strong with that plastic weld, and these other ones, the previous owner or whoever had done it put the washers in the back of them. Also, what I did is I grabbed some packaging tape that was on one of the Amazon boxes, just ripped off a little bit and slid it into this slot here where the screen for the clock is. And that's because after I finish up this corner here, I'm gonna go ahead and sand everything down with the maroon Scotch-Brite, and I'm gonna be painting this piece here. I am gonna tape the backside as well so I don't get any overspray on the backside. Hit it with the Dremel. For the most part, it's smoothed out to where I like it, still leaving a little bit of thickness on there for the strength in that corner. But now I'm going to be hitting it with the red Scotch-Brite, scuff everything on up. I got everything all scuffed up. If you guys can see, got all the little crevices, the little corners, the underside, all around here, all around the clock, up here where the metal clips would be at. And I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but I did take off those metal clips, so everything is good to go. I'm just going to be painting this front side here. Now I'm going to go ahead, clean everything off with some alcohol and get this ready for paint. Part is all wiped down with the alcohol. All the dust, all the dirt has been taken off of there. Paint I'm going to be using is the Sam Color Coat. There's the part number and the color, Lando Black or Landu Black, not sure how to pronounce that. This paint is very good, especially in the Hondas. It just matches very well and gives it a nice sheen. So I'm going to go ahead and hit this with about 2 coats. Came out pretty good. If you guys can see, it looks pretty stock. Gives it a nice sheen. Probably about the same sheen that you would have got when the car was brand new, instead of having all that real sticky stuff on there. Since I did do these emblems here, these are going to look very nice on the back end. Gives it that extra gloss on there, along with the paint on this cluster panel. Just gives it that extra detail, that extra pop. I think it's really going to make it look nice inside of the dash. The next thing I gotta do is go ahead and put on the blue lens that had fell out previously. Here I have some RTV silicone ultra black. This is what I have on hand. I'm just going to put a little bit on the little parts where the lens is supposed to like be plastic welded in, basically. Take a look at the lens. It has these little holes here, and there's still some of that plastic weld that's on there. I already wiped down the lens so it's nice and clean. I gave the RTV about 30 minutes to go ahead and set. Now I'm going to put all the parts together and we should be finished with this unit. Let me go ahead, place everything back where it's supposed to be at, put all the screws in, and we'll be good to go. Here it is, man. Take a look at it. I think it came out pretty good, man. It's not sticky anymore, and the logos look good. They're not all cracking or the clear coming off of them. Now I have a working cluster, and the clock does work as well. Next thing I need to do is clean up the lens. This is the original lens that was in the Prelude, and this one actually has a line running through it. I'm not sure if the camera picks it up. It has like a scratch, so that would have to be wet sanded, but most of all, it has a crack in the lens right there. It's a little bit noticeable when all the plastics are in. You'll be able to see that and the scratch. So I'm gonna go ahead and use a different piece that I had laying around. Here's the other piece that I had, and it's gonna need to be buffed a little bit here on the plastic. but right here it is broken where the screw is supposed to go up top. I might go ahead and try to fix that with the plastic weld, try to add that little section there that's supposed to be there. I'm gonna go ahead and try to roughen that up with some sandpaper, and then we'll try to get it with that plastic weld like that. Well, I was using the Dremel and sanding it down, and I was just messing with it, touching it, and I noticed that up top it didn't really have much strength, so I just broke it off just because it's going to break off on its own. So I'm just going to leave it like this. I am going to tape everything up and just paint this little section. Here's the piece that I had painted right here, and the reason why I left some of that compound, the plastic weld on there, is just because it might help a little bit, because the screw goes right here, so it might be able to catch a little bit and help hold the plastic. But what I'm doing here already is polishing the plastic. What I'm using is the Meguiar's Ultimate Compound, and I'm just using a black drill pad, just using it with my hand, and it should suffice. If I wanted to take it a step further, I would go ahead and wet sand it to get some of the additional spots and scratches out. There's little spots and stuff like over here. It looks like some sort of fluid had fell on the plastic and kind of etched into it. It does have like little splatter marks or something. It's not many. It kind of, I guess it's just because I'm looking at it, scratched like over here on the end. But as far as the piece overall, especially on how old it is, this is really looking good. Before I put any of the panels back in the car, I'm gonna go ahead and clean on back here. There's all this dust and stuff that just accumulated over time, and then we'll start putting in the parts. Finally, I'm able to install the cluster assembly. And I did leave the metal tabs that go on here. I left them off because I think it's just really too much pressure for that lens, especially nowadays with it being older. You know, I feel like it's just eventually going to be breaking. And since this plastic is old, it's already cracking, I'm not putting these screws on very tight. It's going to hold it for sure, but it's not going to be putting too much pressure on the plastic. Now I'm going to be putting on the lens here. And there's a plug for the adjustment, clock adjustment. Also, on this white box over here, up on top, there's another metal clip that I had taken off. I'm going to see how this lens fits without the metal clips. Hopefully it's pretty good, because I do not want to put them back on. Looks like the lens is going to do pretty well without those metal clips. Makes it a whole lot easier taking it on out. Try to put on this screw. Again, not putting it on very tight, just real light, keeps it from rocking. It's already in there pretty good, so honestly, I'm not sure why they put on those metal clips. Going to put on this little plastic piece that bridges the two pieces together. There's usually these little rubber pieces that be on these little tabs here. A lot of times they're missing, so I just grabbed them off of the old one in order to just have a full set on there. If you don't got them, don't trip. It's not like it's going to really like make or break anything, but it's just for that extra snug fit on the panels. Here I have the top piece. I already gave it a quick wipe down. Those little tabs are gonna go in here in this panel. So we're almost finished up. I need to go ahead and put on this lower strip. From factory it does have like a 3M tape, double-sided tape, but you could just snap it on in there and it'll hold. Last thing I need to do is put in the tweeters / tweeter covers, and from 92 to 93 they had these tweeter covers here. From 94 to 96 they did some updates onto the car. Here is the new updated tweeter covers. They have the little trim around there, and so it adds a little bit more detail into the car. The only thing I need to do to these new tweeter covers is put in the tweeters. They didn't come with any, and one of them does not have a bracket, but of course I could just use the ones from the old ones and put them onto these new ones here. And here's the newer ones here, and they have the tweeters in the back. So I'm gonna go ahead and start on the driver's side real easily. Just go ahead and slide them on in there, but of course don't forget to connect the tweeters. As far as the cluster, guys, you guys see it right there, man. It is super clean, looks very stock. It just helps bring in that look into the car. The tweeters, tweeter covers. I'm sure everyone has been waiting for us to see the cluster come on in its full assembly. There it is. You guys saw me sand it down, paint it, put the clear over the indicators, and just clean everything on up. Put in these tweeter covers and fixing some of the plastic. But I think this came out very nice, man. Again, this is one of the main pieces in the car that a lot of people are drawn to, that just made the car different. This Honda is just unique in its own way. So for me personally, this is just one of my favorite Hondas. So let me know what you guys think again, or any questions down below in the comment section. Let me know how I did. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel, like this video, make sure you keep an eye out for any new videos. But as for me, guys, I'm gonna be catching you on the next one, player.